West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
For Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
The 9th of the month of May. You're most welcome from wherever you are watching us from this early morning, and we are already here to also let you know of some of the stories that could be happening on the past elsewhere and around the world. Surely we have started very late. We do apologize for that, but nonetheless we are already here. That was also due to some slight technical challenges, but we have already managed to fix them, and we are here to keep you informed, updated, and of what is happening within and around the world. And that is the reason as to why we always say you must also be part of the show. And today, in a similar way, we also really going to be having a census night, and really this is also really where Ayubos says people must stay where they will be counted from, and also really those whom are being targeted today. We are going to be seeing roadblocks being mounted where truck drivers are also really expected to be also counted under the same scenario here. And we have also seen that over 100,000 personnel are to be counted in barracks, bars also really, and the bar patrons have been given the guidelines, and also really we have been told that towns also really are to count what we call the street kids, and all them will be counted. That is tonight. And also really looking at the lodges, hotels, and also the other bars to also really capture information about the members, and these are the things that will be going on tonight. And not forgetting hospitals who will also really be required to record numbers in there. Not forgetting schools, universities have also really been given the same directives, and that is also really as far as the issue of census is concerned, and that will also be commencing tonight. That is with the census night in there. And later on today we shall be having a talk show also about the same engagement later on. But for now, allow me also welcome you in a special way, maybe from where you are watching us from, onto this segment and edition of the Thursday, that is Thursday Kokoliriko Live on Western Television, that comes your ways each and every Mondays to Fridays, right from 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. And my name is FARISH Majid, and it's a great pleasure once again to have you on board on the show. That is on StarTimes channel 477 and online across all our socials. And when I talk about our socials, I mean the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, plus others where we are live also to also give you the information. And that is the reason as to why you must always be part of the show, because you need not to be left behind. If at all you are going to be left behind, then definitely you could be able to also lack information that will be of great importance and great need to you, who is the viewer. And now let's start the discussion straight in Busoga sub-region, where Litwala Kadaga, the Minister for East African Affairs, has asked the people of Basoga sub-region, that's also the Busoga in Basoga, to also really also take up the initiatives, also really embracing what we call the skilling centers. And remember, government has established what we call the zonal skilling centers, that's across all parts of the region and the nation at large. And in the Western sub-region, we have one that is in Zombo that is already doing a great job, where we did see recently a number of students graduating from the same institute. And we also did see the same happening in Germany, and all this is really to empower the youth mostly, who are really grappling with the challenges of employment. And what the government is solely thinking is that giving them the necessary skills will also really help uplift their livelihoods. And today we have seen so many young girls and boys who enrolled also in these schools who are now doing very well. And that is really why we must commend the government of Uganda, that is through His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for establishing these skilling centers. And I really believe this is also really the way to go in terms of also really addressing the challenge of what we call unemployment. And this is also really something I feel I need to also start the discussions with, because today we have so many issues, and where we have so many youths who are grappling with challenges of unemployment, and where we also really continue to attribute the high crime rates to what is called that unemployment. And this is where also really I want to say skilling centers is definitely the way to go. And I really feel, if at all government of Uganda continues to skill up the youth, that would be quite well. And the first Deputy Prime Minister, also known as the Minister in charge of East African Affairs, Right Honorable Litwala Kadaga, has called upon the people of Busoga sub-region to embrace what we call the presidential skilling centers that have been established, that is with the aim of also really creating also a skill for people to also move away from the unemployment bit, where so many people across the country have been also really grappling with that challenge in there. And she made the remarks at the Busoga Zone of Presidential Industrial Hub located in Jinja, while passing over 445 youths who have attained skills in vocational skills in there. And the former Speaker of Parliament, who is also the Woman Member Parliament for Kamuli, congratulated the graduates and pledged their support, that is to work together with the fellow members of Parliament in the Busoga sub-region and the entire country by supporting State House, also the State House Controller and her team, that we are also really in line to further the President's also skilling program. And this is something I also want to say must also really be able to also really have an impact. Because other than also really training the people, where do they go next? These are things that also really we need to look out for, because at times people also really obtain the skills, but after obtaining the skills, we see them nowhere. And this is also really because they lack the necessary equipment. At times they lack the capital where to begin from. And really, as the viewer, how best do you think we can support also these people who are out there, so that also really they not also really get the skills and put them to waste? where also the government of Uganda at least takes, we are told, at least a few number from each local government, where these local governments have to contribute a few numbers only to it. And this is also something that hasn't been well with some of the local governments who have been advocating for government to increase on the numbers. And Minister Kadaga was happy to hear girls were taking interest in courses that were initially taken to be for males. For instance, courses like carpentry and joinery. These are things that also we are taken as to be for men. Welding, not forgetting also really others for building. These are courses that were initially taken as to for men. And she also expressed her happiness for seeing men also taking interest in courses that were initially taken to be for females. For instance, hairdressing and tailoring also in there. And because if you really see the tailors, most of them are women, but we have seen males who have emerged as tailors. And really, these are super tailors. If you move in places where you find also the clothes, if you move to Hawker, where you will also be surprised to see many men are doing greatly in there in terms of also that is the skillings also in tailoring. And really, we say let now people also take the initiative, also really studying courses that we initially also feared maybe by the gender, because if you really see building, this was a course that was predominantly done by men, and really today we are seeing so many females enrolling for such courses, and this is also something I must say is really quite well. And Mr. Kadaga was happy also to hear that, and really she also expressed her pleasure to work with these people, and she promised to support the skilled youth in Busoga sub-region with at least 15 sewing machines, that is per district, where also really she will be able to provide a workspace for the skilled youth or to also operate from. And this is something I must say that is quite good. And if at all our leaders also really embrace the same, that will be quite well, because many a time people get skills and fail to utilize the skills. And remember, these are skills, if you do not practice, then definitely you are also not going to perfect and improve. And really, this is where I feel, if at all government does not stop at skilling and then maybe also establish facilities where these people go next, that to me will be well and good, because at the end of the day these youths would also really find pleasure to also really practice what they have learned, because without practice then definitely they wouldn't also really perfect in their skills in there. And then secondly, they would also the skills will disappear, because these are practical skills that really, if you do not practice, definitely you will also find it very difficult. And on the other hand, we did see Minister for President Millie Babalanda noted that skilling also really program has come at the right time, when the region, that is Busoga sub-region, has been grappling with high rates of youth unemployment, also perpetuated by, that is the high school dropout rates in the district, in the region in there. And these are things also really we want to say is happening not only in Busoga sub-region, even Western sub-region, we are still seeing the same. And then that means also really we need to also really come up and clearly support the people of this region. That would also be quite well for them to also witness what they need to attain. And she further called upon parents to support their children also to achieve the dreams. And these are things that also I feel we need not to leave the entire responsibility in the hands of government alone. And government has done its part to give the necessary skills, and then you as a parent, you have a mandate to play. That is also in terms of also really obtaining what we call the sewing machines for those who acquired skills in tailoring. Then those who had skills in bakery and catering, this is also really where as parents you need to obtain some small money as capital for them, so that also they can maybe begin and use it for beginning of their life with. And that to me will be well and good, because other than that we may see people obtaining the skills and then do not practice the skills. We may see them also engaged in other activities where they wouldn't also want to practice what they have learned. To me, that wouldn't be quite well, because we want to see these people practicing what they have learned, because they were lucky to also enroll in those schools. Many people have tried, and many people had also really wanted to also to get into these schools. Due to the limited numbers, I believe so many were left out, and that is a reason as to why we are saying we want to see those who have acquired the skills also really putting them into practice to also really change the lives of others. After obtaining the skills, you shouldn't also keep the skills to yourself alone. What about that neighbor of yours whom you know has nothing to do? That neighbor, maybe that girlfriend around. You train them. Also, there's males. Also train them. These are also something I want to remind you of. Keeping the knowledge at yourself alone wouldn't also do a great service to the government. That is why we are saying, after obtaining the skills, extend the skills. That is also really through apprenticeship, because after obtaining the skills, definitely we also need to see so many apprentices also joining, so that also really you too also can still extend the same knowledge that you have acquired also really to the rest of the community members. That would also really help uplift their standards of life in there. And speaking at the event, the directorate of that is also projects and Hubs at State House, Engineer Raymond Kamugisha informed the chief guest that the president saw it very, very important also to start the presidential initiatives at his country, also countrywide assessment that Ugandans also already we are poorly, partly also because many of them lacked what to do, and many of those also already working, we are actually working only for the stomach, and that's already something we also want to say. People we do not want people working only for the stomach. We want to see people also already working towards changing their livelihoods, and that to me also already would be quite well. And he further informed the chief guest and the graduates also already that the engineering brigade of Uganda Post Defense Forces has offered to also employ all the skilled youths in the building and construction company, welding, and also the metal fabrication and carpenters. And this is also something where we also want to see these youths to be incorporated in, and this to me would also already act as a solution and would also really boost this program, so that also really those who obtain the skills and maybe whom we identify have the skills and necessary expertise, we can recruit them into the forces that would also really quite well do a great service to them. Not only UPDF, we want to see also Uganda Police Force also really employing and catering for all this, and not forgetting Uganda Police Force. We also want to see the prisons, and these are also people where I feel if at all we employ them maybe at the facilities where the uniforms are made, that would also really help also them a lot. And to date, a total of that is 8,992 youths between the age of 18 to 35 years have been skilled and graduated from the 19 presidential skilling hubs across the country that have been established across also the country, and that these are in areas of Teso for Soroti. We have also seen Napak also for Karamoja region, Lira catering for Lango, Madi is also really being catered for by Ajumani district, and actually is also really in there, that is also through Guru, where Zombo is catering for West Nile sub-region, Chenjojo is catering for Toro sub-region, and Greater Mubende is also really being catered in for there. Bundibujo is catering for Rwenzori, as Kasese is catering, that is for the Rwenzori sub-region in there. Kemale caters for, that is also really the Chigezi sub-region, as Mbarara is catering for Greater Nkole, Chibuku is catering for Bukedi, and Queen is catering for Sabay sub-region in there. Mbale is also really where the one for Bugisu sub-region has been established, as Masindi is where the one for Bunyoro sub-region has been established, and Jinja is where you can find what is for Busoga sub-region. And these are things that also really I want to say we are privileged to have, we must also take advantage of, and this is also really where we want to see each and everybody also really changing their livelihoods there. The member of parliament that's for Kagoma North County, Honorable Brandon Chintu, who is also the spokesperson for NRM Caucus, assured the chief guest also really of his support to fellow members of parliament towards the skilling hubs in there. And this is those things I want to say, let members of parliament go back into the house and also really advocate for, first of all, the issues about resources. The resource allocation also really needs to be empowered. And this is something I want to say, if at all the resource allocation to this funding also, funding or resource allocation to these schools is also really increased, that would also really help many people enroll, and this will also help maybe the schools also really accommodate more teachers, and that to me would also really be a plus, where we are seeing so many youths engaged in criminality today. If at all these youths also really may be arrested and taken to these schools, that would be quite good, because if you really see what is happening in a rural city, sometimes we say these youths are on to the streets because they lack what to do, but how best can we help them? Then definitely to me the skilling centers would be the solution, and the chairperson for that hub, that is Zonal Management Committee, who is also the AC5 chairperson for Iganga, Ezra Gabula, appreciated President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for implementing the skilling in the industrial hubs, a component under the NRM manifesto, which is key in also really fighting unemployment among the youth. And these are things that really we want to see at the end of the day, also really maybe uplift the livelihoods, and that is also something that also does summarize that discussion. I don't know how best you as the viewer thinks we can support the government of Uganda attain its dream, that is also of reducing unemployment, because I do understand that we cannot eliminate unemployment, but rather we can control it also through also the skilling centers, and that would also be a plus for the government of Uganda in terms of also reducing the number of the people who are unemployed, mostly who are the youth and who are also said to be the majority population in there. And through skilling, where their brains are still fresh, that would be quite well and good. And moving on from that, now let's head into Rwanda, as Rwanda is heading towards politics. In Rwanda, we have also been told Diana Rwigara dares to also meet President Museveni again. That's also something that we are also really seeing on the past this morning. And Miss Diana Shima Rigara has announced her intention that to challenge President Paul Kagame in the July, that's for presidential elections in Rwanda in there. And these are things also really we also are yet following up. At the age of 36 years, Miss Rigara attempted to vie for Rwanda's also really at 37 years ago. We did see Miss Rigara attempting to also vie for Rwanda's also top executive office. But what followed her declaration of presidential ambition was put down decisively. But she also really might not be an easy specimen, and maybe like Arthur Koestler said by Comrade Ratsov in Darkness at Noon, she also becomes stronger than more you may hammer heart. These are things also we are yet following up on, and I don't know how best this would also come up. Several efforts by journalists to contact Ms. Rugwara to confirm the claims on her official handle were futile, as she was not responding to any of those. And these are things also we also want to see how best she can also be part of that. And Rwanda to go into elections, and this will be on July 14th, with also Kagame seeking to extend his stronghold on the Central African state that is 3 decades ago. And these are things also we are following up on. And Mr. Kagame has swept elections ever since, that's 2003, winning also the last over by 98%. And these are things also we are yet following up on, and really we want to see how best also really more women can be engaged into politics. I don't know when Uganda will also really have people really also whom we can term vibrant also to vie for the presidential seat in there, and that is always something I will be able to really keep informed of if at all any of them arises. And moving on from that, let's see what is happening with national IDs, where NIRA lays identity card ink for mass enrollment renewal in there. And these are things also really we want to see, because so many post IDs are going to be expiring. I don't know when yours is going to be expiring, but if I look at mine, very soon it will be expiring, and then definitely I don't know if I will be ceasing to become a citizen, but definitely I do not know. But what we are saying is so many people's IDs are going to be expiring, as the National Identification and Registration Authority, which is abbreviated as NIRA, is set to hold the second mass enrollment, as well as a mass renewal of national identity cards, the registration for mass issuance, that's of IDs to new citizens, as well as the renewal exercise, that is June 1st of this year, and runs that is to September 30th, as officials have also confirmed that is also something we are going to follow up. And this is that is September of next year. And to ensure steady progress of the exercise, NIRA officials have started that is the stakeholders engagement as the district level to sensitize the citizens also about the forthcoming exercise. And these are things also we want to keep you reminded of, as the State Minister for Internal Affairs, General David Muhoozi, presided over the first also engagement at Luero Apartments Hotel in Luero District, local government which involved so many leaders across, that is Nakaseke and Nakasongola districts also as well, attracted into that meeting there. And these are things also we want to see happening. And according to Minister Muhoozi, and he highlighted that 17.2 million people wait that is to be registered also already, and that 15.8 million cards that we also registered in 2014-2025 and also due to expire, that is in 2025, will be renewed 8 months at the parish level. And these are things also we want to see, because so many people must be worried that their IDs are going to be expiring. Are they going to be also expiring to become citizens, or maybe be citizens of this country? Definitely, I do not know, but we are yet following up on that. We want to see how best people's IDs can also be renewed in there. And the minister under whose docket NIRA operates further noted that the importance of this exercise and the goals of this exercise is also to support identification of persons for purposes of national planning, national security, and also service delivery, revenue censorship, preservation and protection, and also the migration management and others. And these are also some of the benefits that come with one for possession of the IDs. Even today, we are seeing so many people without mobile phones registered in their numbers registered in their numbers, in their names, sorry, and this is because of the issue of lack of IDs. And what we are saying is, I let people take advantage of this exercise so that also they can obtain the IDs, so that also nobody is left behind in there. And however, Luero leaders tasked NIRA to use keen eye also on the rising number of refugees, especially also the South Sudanese, who are alleged to bribe local leaders for recommendations also to be recognized as citizens. That is also really in the issuance of these national IDs. And the Nakaseke District Chairperson, Mr. Ignatius Komu, also raised the concern also about the displaced documents required also during the exercise, hence appealing patience and lenience during the exercise in there, because so many people have lost their IDs today, and I do understand that one of the requirements for one also really maybe that will be required during the process is the previous IDs, but many people have lost the IDs, and the renewal has also been having challenges where you at times also required to move to Kololo, where so many people have been having that challenge. And this is also where I want to appeal to government of Uganda to be very, very much vigilant and lenient with those who do not have the documents. Maybe those who have lost their previous IDs, if at all they do not have it, then what alternative are they going to be having for them to also reacquire under the new also process? This is also something I want to also say maybe needs to be done, because if at all we are going to be asking for fines and monies from these people, sometimes the monies are quite expensive, and many of the people cannot be able to afford, and that is why they resort also to staying without the national IDs. And this is something I really feel is quite bad, and I feel also we need to talk about it, because if at all we do not talk about it, then definitely nobody is going to be doing that. And the executive director of NIRA, that is Ms. Rosemary Kisembo, said the exercise will cost over 600 billion, that is the taxpayers' money, and the authority was set to start amidst challenges of delayed supplies. And also this is something also at the end of the day we want to see. Ms. Kisembo also noted that besides updating the particulars that we are required to be paying 200,000, and also those who lost their IDs replacements, and this exercise is absolutely free of charge, and options of online services to apply for enrollment and renewal will be available, and later the applicants' biometrics will be taken at the nearest enrollments sites also nearest to them in there. And these are things also we want to talk about. And moving away from that, government surrenders CID land in Chibuli to investors, and remember this is already quite a huge chunk of land where we did see also many people also being using that land as a parking lot, where we did see so many of these vehicles that were impounded. And the same facility was also really used as the football pitch. And I remember at one time when I was still way back in Kampala, and this is actually one of the areas that we used to use as a football pitch, and we used to play from there before dumping also garbage in at the facility. And now we also being told that the land also, that's block 15, that's Chibuga County, plot 31, also 49 along Chibuli Mukwano Road in Kampala was valued at shillings 25 billion 5 years ago, when Tisha Investment Limited dragged the government to court over leasehold in there. The government has rendered more than also 5 acres of land belonging to that criminal investigation department that is in Chibuli, also to a city suburb in there. And these are things that we are yet following upon. And in May 2nd, no objection letter, Internal Affairs Minister Kaindo Tafire was brief and feeble with the tone of rape, also the victim who was given up, that's up kicking in there. The minister submitted to the investor that Uganda Police Force had strapped their handcuffs and folded their arms, and these are things we want to see, because how long will also the investor take that is ownership of this land? These are things that we need to understand, because this is government land, and the minister submitted to the investor that police and serve itself, and therefore also they have no objection also to you are taking possession of the land. And this is also said to be land that has also been shelving, that is the CID Department of Police and Tisha Investments, whose online information says is managed by James Saul also Biaranga. In June 2019 dragged, that's the government of Uganda, to court land, also leaving the Inspectorate of Government, that's Martin Okoth Ochola, vowing to crash the plot to grab the institution's land in there. And these are things also we want to say and need not to happen, because if people are grabbing a government land just like this, what kind of image does that pose? These are things so we need to investigate and also have keen interest in. And in a civil suit number that's 489 before the Land Division, that's at High Court, Tisha Investment demanded the Uganda Land Commission and Attorney General also step aside and allow the right also to lease the land in there. And these are things we are saying we are following up. And besides Mr. Biaranga, the local also investment firm is said to be jointly owned by a group of powerful claimants such as retired UPDF General Jagenda Chibirango and also Stephen Kashaka, former Urban Development State Minister, and Mr. Urban Tibamanya and Rwampara County MP, and Charles Ngabirano, who are also really said to be behind also that land in there. The mixed surrender, that's from General Otafire, who gained also the fame in mid-2000s for his stance against land grabbers and wet encroachers, is also really telling. And for those, but for many also who have also been around long enough, I've heard that 1986, more than 1,986 times the giveaway of the road police ground to Carbon and Wanton also really did take place in there. And these are things that we also want to say we are following up on. Chunks of land belonging to Uganda Police in Zambia and Chibuli also locals, that's also where given that's to investors between 2000 and also the first half of the first decade in there. And these are things also I feel we need to also really see to that the institution that is still growing also needs not to lose land like that, because so many of the police officers today continue to sleep in dilapidated houses, and I really feel instead of giving up on the lands just like this, developing these facilities, maybe putting up proper structures for the police institution would also be quite good, and many people would also be engaged and interested in joining the Uganda Police Force at one time. Then chunks of land also have this, at this point have also been said to have been given away just like that. And when Teacher Investment issued in 2019, their 5-year lease issued in 2014 by the Uganda Lands Commission was expiring, and I really feel these are things also we need to happen in broad daylight, because they paint a negative image. They also really make people feel very much dissatisfied. And the Serene Farm told the court that the Police Directorate of Engineering and Logistics, also Geoffrey Bangirana, had first their efforts to develop the facility in there, and also demanded lease extension that is for 49 years as envisaged in the lease offer. And the police have also ignored several requests to comment on the new developments, while journalists have also contacted the Uganda Land Commission on whether Teacher Investment had secured the 49-year leasehold as they demanded. And these are things also we are following up on, and I do not know what you think as the viewer about the same matter, because so many times that we are seeing government losing land to private investors, private developers. But what is really happening, and really do they have also the backdoor information that maybe this will pass through and acquire the information and acquire the land in there? I do not know, but you as the viewer can help us. What is really happening? Why is the government of Uganda losing land to private developers or private persons like that? What exactly needs to be done? This is only where your opinion, your idea is highly welcome, and you should also do that quickly by commenting on our Facebook also platforms. For those of you watching us via Facebook, and for those of you watching us also via YouTube, you also still can drop your comments in there, and I will be able to read it later on. And for those via X, you can also tag us, and your comment will be able to be shared here lively. And this is already something why I must keep you reminded of, because as West Nile Television, our #1 goal remains that is to enlighten the region, and we are not going to be doing that alone. Definitely you as the viewer, you a stakeholder in that the drive was also wanting to see the country is also really thrown with light, and these are things that already I feel as the viewer you also need to be part of. And this is still the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile Television. My name is FARISH Majid. We are going to be heading for a short commercial break. It is a Thursday, and from wherever you chose to watch us from, we say thank you so much as we come back shortly from the commercial break. For now, let's first have this breather, and we bounce back shortly with other topics as we want to keep you updated of what is happening in and around your home.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The National Population and Housing Census 2024 is here. Uganda is to conduct the Census 2024 this May to update our population status that will support government to plan for every citizen. The numeration team is in the field to respond to all the necessary interests by you and me as they register all of us. Note that the census night is 9th May 2024. Let us all be part of this exercise by working with the numerators, provide correct data and information. This exercise is to assist the government in planning government resources properly, provide efficient service delivery, and the formulation of national policies. The numeration will start on the 10th to 19th, 2024, and the counting will be done at our homes or places of residence. The Census 2024, it matters to be counted. This message is brought to you by Dr. Chris Mukiza, the Executive Director, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and the Government of Uganda.
The search for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors, Grass Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, many thanks for keeping it still at West Nile Television. We are back on channel 477 on StarTimes and online across all our socials. And this is still the show that we will also be letting you know of different information across the country. And now let's head into Mubende, where new registration exercise kicks off. And so many people have also been witnessed yesterday, also really going to register themselves. That is with the National Platform Party in Mubende district in there. And this is also really after the party launched also really the party registration book campaign for its members in there. Members flocked the party headquarters, that is also already in Kirunji, also already Mubende municipality for registration in there, and members who receive the party cards also already promised to keep the candle burning and also already until they get the victory come 2026. And how realistic is that? We are yet following up on, and really we shall be able to also let you know if at all that is the reality, because that is also already what the people, more so the people who are subscribing their ideology, that is to Nup also really thinking in there. And Lawrence Akasimire at all night post that as a foot soldier, he had waited, that is for this day to come, and that means he feels very much excited about also taking part in the exercise there. And Akasimira called upon all Nup supporters to turn up, that is in big numbers, for the registration exercise, saying that this is the only opportunity for them to get the victory also really in the forthcoming general elections in there. And these are things solely we are yet following up on, as Miss Agnes Nakeya, another party member, lauded Nup for the initiative, saying the journey for the success has just started. And these are things solely we do not know, but the pressure looks very, very much on the party members, and also really we are seeing them very, very much serious. I don't know what exactly that also means to them, and I will be able to keep on following that discussions in there. Then also these are things also we feel that we also need to talk about, and we journalists also do understand that exercise is not without the use of political gymnastics, with some party members already accusing security operatives of intimidation in there. As David Chaine, a male councillor that is representing also the Kasana Ward in Mubende municipality, has said some of the security operatives we are planning to fail the process, adding that they were more determined with the cause. And these are things that's already at the end of the day we do not expect also put to jeopardize. We do not expect maybe these things to be done. Remember recently we did see the one for NRM, and now NUP is also already undertaking mass registration of the members. Also this is to ascertain how many members they do have, and also at the end of the day they want to see how many voters they will be able to also expect that is in the forthcoming general election. Just like NUP, we are also really expecting the other political party members also to start embracing the same. Other than that, we may also see people at the end of the presidential elections starting to pinpoint of also really vote rigging and accusations here and there. That would also not be quite well, as allegations sometimes also lead also to be dragged to court. And these are things also at the end of the day we want to see also not go on, because at the end of the electoral process we do not want to see more time and just wasted. That is also in cost. Then the court courts of appeal, also in courts, other courts, as people also may also want to go and challenge the results, which to me wouldn't be quite well. And such exercise would also be quite well, because people get to identify how many voters they do have exactly. And Mr. Pafratido Cheyune, the medical chairperson of NUP mobilization, that's Amit Kunga, said also already they expect to register more than 500,000 party members in the district alone, that's of Mubende. And he added that the party has started registration centers in villages across the district, calling upon also members not to hesitate. And Mubende district has 19 sub-counties, and officials also expect to announce the results of the registration by the end of the month in there. And I really feel these are things also already that need to be catered for, so that's already the numbers of people who are identified. And just like how NUP wants to identify the numbers, government of Uganda is already undertaking what we call the National Population and Housing Census exercise, which is due to take place, that is starting off tonight, that's 9th of May. And remember, later on, I want to remind that we are going to be having a talk show again. This is also to keep you informed and updated of how the exercise will be going on starting tonight, and where minority tribes demand inclusion into national setup. And this is also something that we are seeing on the paper this morning, because if you really see what is happening with also the National Population and Census exercise, so many people are going to be engaged in that. And now we are seeing minority tribes demand inclusion into national setup, and this is really something that we also want to see it may be done, because at the end of the day we have been told that we are going to also really be seeing information about people's clans being captured. And definitely this calls for all the minority tribes through their leaders and now to work together with the different stakeholders. And now a group in Jinja of minority tribes have ramped up, that is advocacy for constitutional amendment, seeking for officially to be recognized into as citizens of Uganda, that is under also the law as amended. The members of the that is ethnic minority tribes also say they find difficulty to access essential government documents such as land titles, national identity cards, and passports, coupled with hardship that to access social services in there. And Uganda is also home to a number of minority groups spread up that's across different parts of the country, and some of the tribes also are not legally recognized by the law in there. And these are things also we are saying, much as they are leaving the country, and then definitely a recognition would also be quite well, and really to recognize these members, to me, would be quite well. And you as the viewer, I don't know what you think. There are so many tribes that today that are not recognized also as part of the constitution, and yet they continue to live in Uganda, and they are advocating for recognition through a constitutional amendment, since they can't access some government also assistance, government programs and important documents, and they are also in the names of their tribes there. And they mention like items like the national identity cards, passports, and national IDs, and land titles, among others. And these are some of the documents they feel they cannot also really attain in there as being part of the minority groups in there. Daniel Lokolo, a member of the IK community in Kabong district, says they find changes in land ownership since they live in forests, and laws of Uganda grant all also rights, also forest rights, also to National Forest Authority. Hence, many of them have also already been evicted by government agencies like Uganda Wildlife Authority and NFA. Yet they find forests as their home and ancestral land, since they also been there since time immemorial, and that is only where their origin comes from. And they also expressed concern about that, so in relation to evictions out of the forest. And if you see, we have so many tribes that more so in western Uganda, where their origin is said to be in the forests. And really, this is also where their homes are, and I really feel evicting these people out of their forests, also maybe out of their original lands, that would also not be quite well. And he added that their great-grandparents lived in forests, and also for security reasons, because they would evade attacks from Karamajongs and Turkonas, also really as a result of that fear, they resorted to living in the forest. And Stephen Aduba, that is from the Tapeth So community and coordinator of Karamoja Indigenous Minority Group, also predicted that their extension in the government also does not also intervene. And these are things also we are yet following up on, as Chris Lopeyok Kairenga, a civil rights activist and member of that's the meaning also really group in that's Karamoja, says minority groups also really should be scattered for in terms of also representation at different also levels of government, including that sub-county and district, also to parliament. That this is also something where they feel they need recognition. And these are things that's already at the end of the day I feel also we need to talk about as the viewer. Moving on from that, Hoima City is to host, that is this year's International Candlelight Memorials, And these are the things that also I feel we need to remind you of, as Hoima City will host this year's International Candlelight Memorial. That's for Uganda. Officials have confirmed that. And Dennis Byamukama, the head of HIV prevention, that's of Uganda AIDS Commission, unveiled the plans that's to commemorate the International AIDS Candlelight Memorial with reflection, resilience, and renewed commitment that is in the fight against HIV, stroke, AIDS in there. And this is also really an important day. I really feel people need to also be part of. And the National AIDS Candlelight Memorial serves as the poignant moment that is also to members of the community living with the AIDS, also really those who have lost their lives, and it is also honor the dedicated those who are also to honor those who dedicated their life also to also fight the disease, because we have so many medical personnel who are said also to have been contracted this disease that is already in the line of their duty. And I really feel such days is very, very much important for us to also recognize and remember them for. And in a departure from tradition, Uganda will commemorate the International AIDS Candlelight Memorial. That is on Friday, May 17th, which is tomorrow. That is also already at Hoima City as being the main host. And this is also where this national celebrations will be going on. And remember, these international celebrations that will also already be hosted by Hoima City. And the departure from tradition, Uganda will commemorate the International AIDS Day, also Candle Memorial on Friday, and this is all in addition to the AIDS Day. And the choice of venue holds significant meaning at Hoima's regional status as an oil city, which mirrors both progress and challenges in both also already in Babatu against HIV in there. And this I think is already where we have seen also those stakeholders are deciding also already choosing that date in for maybe the place for. And under the overarching theme of ending AIDS by 2030, remember the Millennium Development Goals, among other talks, that is to end HIV, that is by the year 2030. And these are 8, and these were also 8 where we did see a government of Uganda also take initiative. That is solely to fight against HIV/AIDS, because these were under the Sustainable and Millennium Development Goals, which among others included to end HIV and poverty before the year 2030. I don't know how we are realizing that dream, and I don't know how closer we are even getting closer to also fighting that is HIV and poverty. And also, as much as the access to education, we have seen government of Uganda rolling out what we call the universal primary and secondary education in there, where so many people are now also really as products, because I am personally a product of that, so the UPE, and I believe just like me, so many people out there, we are also really beneficiaries of what we call the universal primary education. And these were also really part of those goals where we did see the world also talking about access, increasing access also really to education there, and not forgetting also really ending that is maternal and also mortality rates, also really where we have seen children dying, and these were also really also in the health sector, which also touched about that. And these are things also we are following up on. I do not know when exactly we shall be able to get closer even to ending that is also HIV/AIDS by 2030, because we are remaining with 6 years. And I really feel if at all people took up the careful initiatives, I would end the HIV by the year 2030. First of all, the issue of also using condoms for those who may not be able to solely want to maybe wait anymore. The usage of condom is really the way to go. First of all, also testing yourselves with your loved ones is also another way that we may also make that dream a reality. And then above all, also sticking faithful to your partners. And this is already for those who are married. Being faithful is really the way to go, because sometimes we have seen people also bring AIDS to their families because they also they were not patient enough, and they will also not be able to stick to their partners. And these are things we also want to say needs to be done. And then the issue of stigma is one that needs to be put aside, because at times people also get this disease, and once we see them also members of the community, sometimes it becomes very harsh on them, and the kind of treatment we give them is also sometimes not called for. That also results also to what we call stigma, and stigmatization is actually the main cause of people also dying to HIV/AIDS in there. The event will be graced, that is by the esteemed presence, that is of Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, who will serve as the chief guest, and attendance also government officials, where we also expecting so many dignitaries also to be part of that celebration there. Now, as Uganda prepares also to commemorate the Candlelight Memorial, it confronts that persistent challenges that hinder progress in the fight against HIV, stroke, AIDS in there. And from addressing stigma and discrimination, also to tackling vulnerabilities poised by that large-scale also infrastructure projects, the nation also really remains resolute. That's in effort of overcoming also the HIV/AIDS in there. And these are things we want to say and needs to be done, because if at all we are not talking about this, then definitely so many people may also continue to suffer from HIV/AIDS there, and that would also not be quite well. And I really feel we also need to also have play a role as stakeholders, as you as the viewer, you have a role to play in terms of already wanting to see that HIV is also already reduced in the country in there. And these are things also at the end of the day that would also be quite well. from that, let's now what is in the monitor this morning as ex-LRA Commander Coelho's judgment set for July 12th. This is already another story that we are seeing on Daily Monitor this morning. As former commander of the Lord Resistance Army, that's rebel group Thomas Coelho, in a rebel group also who is also already said to be part of the rebel group, that's the Lord Resistance Army, on Wednesday evening concluded his defenses so fought off charges in relation that's to merciless killings and also heinous atrocities committed by the Lord, also warlord, that's Joseph Kony in there, and this is militia against the people of northern Uganda, which also caters also for West Nile, actually, and Lango, because we are also being told that these atrocities we are created not only naturally, we have seen also devastating impacts in Lango sub-region. We have also seen poor affecting Karamoja and also the West Nile in there. Today, the people of West Nile sub-region are yet to be compensated, and this also did not go well with also the 1,000 plus people and the victims who are demanding government of Uganda for their payments in there and their compensation. And I really feel this is something also that we need to talk about, because if at all we do not talk about this, then definitely when shall they get their monies be paid? And these are things also at the end of the day we also want to see, because in Acholi and Karamoja we have seen people receiving animals, and this did not go well with some people from West Nile sub-region who said that is a bit discriminative, and they feel also something must be done to them. And the category of his defense witness includes medical expert, a protected also witness, and cultural expert. Following the closure of his defense, that is a panel of 4 justices presiding over the matter, reserved their judgment for July 12th. And Justices are Michael Elubu, Duncan Gaswanga, and Stephen Mubiru, and Andrew also Bashaija in there. And these are the judges who will be able to sit there. About the court also deliver this judgment. The court also, as assessors are expected to give their layman's opinion. That's whether Coelho is guilty or not. That's before July 5th in there. And these are things I feel we need to remind you of, because these atrocities that did not go really well with the people of West Nile sub-region and the Acholi sub-region at large. And now moving away from that, still within the crime rate, allow me go home and die home from a 75-year-old defilement remandee pleads with judge also in there. And these are things I want to also talk about, as a 75-year-old ailing man who has been also on remand, that's at Luzira government prison for 3 years following his arrest. That is on aggravated defilement. That's in Kampala. Is set to also, he's also with the High Court. Judge also in Kampala is set to also have him free after being also pardoned by the victim's family in there. And these are things we also want to see, as Godfrey Sozi, a resident that's of Bulenga B village, that's Wakiso district, on Wednesday appeared before Justice Margaret also Muntoni, alongside also 25-year-old Sam Nyeba, who has also already been battling separate defilement charges. Nyeba's victim was aged 17 years at the time of the offense. A frail-looking Sozi has been carried to courtroom by Nyeba, with whom they have been on remand, that is since the year 2021. And these are things I want to caution upon people of maybe, if you feel you cannot wait anymore, why don't you get an adult? Because you are going to be sleeping with somebody who is 17 years and the person looks like as if they're 20. And this is something also already at the end of the day I really want to call the ball for, because the law may catch up with you, because if you are really taking advantage of these young girls, because at the age of 18 years, really somebody is still young. And today we see a person of 18 years is still looking like she is 15. And these are things already I want to call upon people now to avoid, because sometimes this vice versa. You may see a lady and think that she is 18 already, but the person is still 15 years old. And these are things already I feel I need to remind you of. Just like these two who are battling their cases, you could be the next person if at all you do not also take up the initiative of first of all asking and consulting the girls' ages and solely carrying out your investigations, because sometimes these girls, because they love you, they may also lie to you there, and that would also lead you in the wrath of their families, who may drag you to court. And the offense was also, the court had that victim had been sent to Lusozi's home, that's to pick banana, appealing also already by the time of the offense, and he asked her to enter his house, that is before inviting her to his bed. And the suspect also already, now a victim, told also already the victim also to sleep on top of him, and before he started also touching her body, including her private parts. Later undressed her and had sexual intercourse with her. That's also what also led for him to be arrested in there. Court documents so far indicate that Sozi was also found with the victim at the scene, which led to his arrest also by residents and taken to area also local council authorities, who also where he confessed from, and he was later also handed over to police, where he pleaded guilty for also and asked for forgiveness in there. And Nyeba's case also was another, and really these are things we feel we need to talk about. And as we also still going to talk about with what's happening in crime rate, a policeman has been jailed 50 years for strangling 9-year-old colleague's daughter to death. And really this is quite ironic, because you as a policeman, you expected also take care of the people, and where we also see youth becoming the victims and perpetrators of these crimes, then definitely it becomes quite absurd, and we may also at the end of the day lose that is also trust in the institution. And Costa sentenced now a 48-year-old policeman, that's 50 years in prison after he was convicted of murder by strangulation also in there. And Inspector of Police Emmanuel also Wilson Abura was convicted on struggling that's to death a 9-year-old daughter of his fellow policeman in a shared house that is Nalia housing estate that's in Kampala in there. And IP Abura killed an innocent girl, and that's already what also led also for him to be sentenced, that is to 50 years in there. And the judge explained that Abura, who walked that's into the courtroom, supported that's on clutches, also really uses also his disability as a tool that's to attract empathy, but he needs to work on his soul and also to tame his inner man, because also he poses a danger that's to human beings, and that's solely something where he also got sentenced to prison for. And the officer also was convicted after court found him guilty of prosecution also squarely also linked him to the crime scene, and also his conduct therefore was also suspicious. And that is something also we also want to talk about as we get to climax with the show. And these are things that's already at the end of the day we also we need to avoid talking about, because people also sometimes take advantage, really also lose their tempers and harm innocent people, because that 9-year-old also really has no issue with you at all. Because even if you really have maybe issues with the father, but does that mean that you need to transfer your anger to these young innocent girls? Definitely we say no, and people need to mind of their actions. And this is already where we are saying each and everybody out there must be mindful of what they need to do and what exactly they can be doing, and that would also require maybe to paint us an image of exactly how they will be able to land their lives in jail. And do you think justice has been served? Definitely you also can share your opinions, because so many people are saying that is justice already according to the policeman and the daughter who lost her life, that is also dearly in there to this area, and also police officer for also taking advantage of that. And I really feel that is quite well and good, and I really feel justice has already been served. And now moving on from that, well, let's see what is happening with the infrastructure and transport sector, where Karuma Bridge has already been closed, that is for buses and vehicles that carry more than 28 passengers. And now we are also being told that buses need 20 extra liters on fuel, that's on eastern route also to travel in there. And the diversion of traffic, and the same issue has also been put, that's on the buses of Arua, where we have seen the buses also adjusting on their times, and this is most quite common with the night buses, and others have also increased on their fares. And the diversion of traffic, that's between Elera and Kampala through Soroti, Kumi, Palinya, Palisa, Tirinyi, Nakalama, Iganga has increased. That is also the distance by 75.7 kilometers compared to that is the 338-kilometer drive that is already between Kampala, that's between Uganda, Kampala, and Lango Principal Trade. That is already through Kamdini in the Karuma. Also is also something where we are seeing prices also increasing, and our competitions with the help of Google Maps show a bus also already setting up that is from Kampala to Lira, and also Kampala using the eastern route would also need extra, that is 30.28 liters, and also that is something at the end of the day would also increase on the prices also of fuel. And the pump station is selling a liter of fuel that's 5,100, as it was also the case in some places. That's May 7th, and shillings 500, 154,428 will be required per trip. That's to cater for the additional fuel also costs in there. And the capital agency Roads Authority also diverted also traffic also after of the road, and now buses also moving from Western sub-region are also required now to pass via the Karuma. Also now not to Karuma, that is also they are required now to pass via the Machison Forest National Park. The game also road there, and that is something which has also come with its own cost, where we are seeing our buses now also adjusting on the cost. And now that is something at the end of the day I really feel also I need to remind you of. And now moving away from that, because for those who are going moving via the park, definitely you are going to also have an advantage of seeing the animals, and that also tells us why Uganda has been named among the best investment destinations. That's certainly another story that we are seeing on the past this morning. And Uganda has been recognized for being among the best investment destinations in the world, and hailed for attracting also some of the most significant foreign direct investments, that is abbreviated as the FDI projects, in the year that is also 2023. And I really feel that this is also something that we also should take advantage of as citizens, as people of this region, as everybody out there. And that is something at the end of the day that also really should tell us why we must also remain to invest in Uganda. And the prestigious award that the AMI Investment Award 2024 was also presented by the State Minister for Finance, Investment and Planning. That's at the Gala Dinner at Abu Dhabi, also National Exhibition Center, as part of the 13th edition of the annual investment also the awards in there. And these are things also we want to remind you of. And also the AMI Congress 2024 is being held under the theme Adapting to a Shifting Investment Landscape, Harnessing New Potential for Global Economic Development. And these are things already at the end of the day I feel we need to talk about, because Uganda still remains with enormous opportunities, and really what remains is government of Uganda to put up a small touch here and there that would actually attract more investors. And looking at some of the vast opportunities we have, that is human resource in Western sub-region, where so many youths are really there to work. But there's work and really creating of more opportunities. For instance, maybe industrial maybe facilities would help maybe attract more investors, and this is also really that could also be possible through generating power. And I really feel if power is now extended to Western sub-region, we may also see so many industries, because today we have not so many industries compared to the other parts of the region. If I was recently in Lango sub-region in Lira, I was able to see more factories, but if we move to Western sub-region, there are not so many, and Gulu also has quite a number of also industries, and I really feel that is also maybe because they still have the connection to power, and really very soon we have been told we are going to be connected, that's the national grid, and I feel once we get connected, and then definitely we may see so many industries emerging, and which to me would be to the advantage of the sub-region. And I really feel with Uganda being recognized as among the investment destinations, and investors also really need to also really, have a feeling that there's a region called Western sub-region where they need to invest, and where we also still have so many chunks of lands which are still also not being occupied. Uganda definitely also really must also really send some of these investors at Western sub-region, coupled with the issues of the cheap labor. We still have labor where most of our young people could also really be employed in, and that to me would be quite well. And the winning projects include that's the spouts of water, the largest manufacturers of that ceramic water filters in Africa, and also the solution also using locally sourced materials, and currently it produces that is also reach over 200,000 households, and aims that is to reach that is 6 million households by the year 2030. And these are things also where Uganda has been recognized for, and we are saying we also must also cherish where we are as people of this country, and these are things also at the end of the day would also be quite well bed. And UIA board chairman Mr. Morrison Rwakakamba said the companies are strategic green investments that demonstrate the commitment of Uganda to mitigating also really the adverse effects of climate change. And these are things already as what the world continues to talk about. We also need to ensure that our investments are ones that definitely promote that is the climate, other than those that also may also destroy the environment. According to the Director General of the Uganda Investment Authority, Mr. Robert Mukiza, said the award is not only an affirmation of Uganda as the best investment destination in Africa, but also the strong and effective also the authority is making in attracting quality, relevant also and sustainable investments to Uganda in there. And these are things already at the end of the day we want to see also being developed. And this is the second time Uganda is receiving an accolade, that is from AIM in 2023 to won the award for the best investment destination in East Africa for attracting also the most also investors in there. And these are things already at the end of the day we want to see quite also being manifested, because we may be talking about Uganda as being one of the potential investment destinations, but we do not see that actualizing. Then it remains on paperwork, which is really quite unfortunate, and really want to see all these investments really coming to Western sub-region. Maybe we want to see factories established in Koboko. We want to see factories established in Madiokolo. We want to see factories established in the Madarua district, and really that would also really be quite well, because we still have land. Land is never solution. Is still never lacking. We still have land in these places I've mentioned, and really also if at all we are to see many industries in there, that would also really be quite well. And really that is what brings us to the first half of the second hour, and this is the Kokoliriko live show on Western Television. We are on channel 477 on Times, and really across also social media platforms where you are watching us from. But for now, let's also first have this short commercial breather, and remember our final destination remains 9 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock that's when the news bulletin in Lubarati will be coming through with Mukulia Lawrence. But for now, let's first make this money as we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are back also to let you know of some of the stories that we feel we need not to leave out. And this is the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile Television, channel 477 on Star Times, and also 008 on 0073 on Zuku, and across all our social media platforms, where you can also really ably watch us each and every mornings, right from the hour of 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. And this is the Kokoliriko live show that really you must also be part of, and that also leads us to the news bulletin at 9 o'clock, when Mukulia Lawrence also really will be here. But for now, let's first see some of the stories as we get to the climax of the show. And remember, so many issues have been happening in the country, where also people have been complaining about the infrastructure, most especially the roads, where people have been saying the roads are in deplorable status that need also to be renovated and rehabilitated in there. And now we also been told that government of Uganda has borrowed, that is shillings 295 million, that is US dollars about, that is also estimated to be 1.1 trillion Ugandan shillings in there to largely finance upgrading, that is of national roads in the next financial year, which begins also in July. In the Finance Minister, that's Matia Kasaija, and Dr. Muhammad Al-Jassar, the President of Islamic Development Bank Group, also signed the deal, that's in Riyadh, also Saudi Arabia. The duo signed the constitutional also loan during also really the 2024 Islamic Development Bank Group annual meeting, that was also really there to also really see that the leaders can come together, and which was also really held, that was about April 27th and 30th also in there. And these are things also really we want to see, because we want to see the road sector being developed. Even today, if you look at the road that connects, that is Arua to Pakwach, definitely the road is not in a good, quite well state, and so many vehicles are now have to pass through so many challenges, and I really feel that also needs to be developed in there. The Minister of Finance said the funding also really will go towards the construction of the Masindi Port Bridge, and also really where a ferry currently crosses River Nile and links, that is Rekunyungu, that is Renkunye to Apach, and also to Lira Road in there. And these are things also really we are yet following up on, and Uganda easily got the loan because it is a member of that Organization of Islamic Countries, and the country is also joined the OIC during the late Idi Amin's also time. And these are things also really at the end of the day which we call legacy, and then definitely your legacy sometimes also really keeps on adding salt, and that adds also maybe serving the nation, and that is already something as to where Uganda was able to also get the 1.1 trillion to upgrade the national roads. And really in my considerations, the road that connects, that is the Pakwach Kampala road, also needs to be also one that must be developed and catered for under this funding in there. And upon signing a deal, Matia Kasaija has pledged that the government of Uganda shall fulfill its obligation under the agreement in there. And nonetheless, the national debt analysis, analysts, policy experts and economists who spoke to journalists said, raised fear about the utilization and absorption of the unconditional fund loan, which has also proven wanting in several cases, and also must prioritize using this money for what it borrowed it for, because we do not want to see diversions, because sometimes we see people diverting the funds after obtaining the money in there. Mr. Msasi said upgrading of the road is crucial and will facilitate the movement of tourists also visiting that Kidepo Valley National Park, and also hence that's promoting tourism in there. And where does that also put the Uganda debt burden at? And this is something somebody could also be interested in. And Uganda's public debt also stood at 80.8 trillion, equivalent, that is also US dollar 217 billion as at the end of that December 2022/2023. Of this amount external debt was said to be at Uganda share at 49.9 trillion, nearly that is about the 3 trillion equivalence. These are things at the end of the day, somebody out there could be worried of. And due to the rising levels of Uganda's debts, the experts are now more worried that not just about the accumulation of the debts, that is where they also express fears of how government of Uganda could be able to refund this money in there. Mr. Julius Mukunda, the executive director of CS Bank, said it is about the government capacity to absorb the funds once released in there. And meanwhile, Mr. Walakira David, the executive director, that is also Center for Budget and Tax Policy, said it's about time that government cuts a cost, that's its own costs, arguing that it will who buys more than who can chew and who can still fail to pay the money and land in trouble there. And these are things we do not want to see, because paying this money could be able to be a challenge to those more so in the areas in there. And that does leave us with that story there. And let's now see what is happening related to environment, where government of Uganda is now warning the people who live around lake showers, and the baselines about flooding, most especially in the lakes and rivers. As I want to remind you about that the National Forest Authority and the Ministry of Water and Environment have warned people living in the lowlands of the shores of rivers and lakes to vacate, as a precaution against drowning, given the fact that the water levels being witnessed to be rising steadily in there. And Isa Katwesiga, the assistant the assistant commissioner of planning raised that concern there, and this is something we want to see people abide by, because we don't want to see people die as a result of flooding, which to me wouldn't be quite well at the end of the day. And he explained that neighboring countries like Kenya have been receiving what we call flooding, and I really feel that is something at the end of the day which would be quite well and good in there. And these are things I want to remind you of, because rising water levels is not only happening in Lake Victoria, and we have been told that water bodies around West Nile are being told to witness the same things. I really feel this need to be done, and really if I can be able to remind our fishing community, more so in Bulisa, who are complaining about the government, we may see them still facing challenges of what we call water bodies. And now let's see in 1 second, residents want FPU operations on Lake East, that is to promote business in there. And this is the fishing community who may be victims of the flooding, and locals in Waseko town in Bulisa district have declared the state of Wanseko market and called for urgent need intervention from both town council and district leadership in order to boost their fishing trade in there. And this is something at the end of the day where this is how the fishermen talking about. Maybe if you can first of all get to hear what they are saying, that would be quite well for us as we get to the climax of the show. For now, let's first connect to the fishermen and hear what exactly they are saying in relation to that.
As they continue to carry out the operation, we find that it becomes a total challenge at the community, as well in as far as maybe their economic activity is concerned, since they do based on water. So it's over-exploiting there. People are poor, they have no way, they need to try to raise money and supporting their children back to school. People are languishing over the same operation. Some suggest the government come up with to invent a new system by maybe trying to utilize the locals around here, as in Edlers, having their own team and man their own landing sites.
If it doesn't have any name, destroys the art, you are Kiramansa, Askari as Bama Buswa, Idiban Menga Kurle, teba ka yokindo mijiba mavua kwa diki ama dule chedi yani echoke marichera te ducheza dangane adri girkukili ruseko aloba lalunga I consider evle amavle de kingo ele machikini adi yani bazinga pingwani especially mai malugbarani manga survive di ngoni echoke ninga sanse ma excuse.
All right, those are the fishermen with their concerns and they apply to the government. And really, so many times we have seen these fishermen always raising concerns, not only in where we are talking about Wanseko. We have also seen those on Lake Victoria also complaining and decrying the way these UPDF officers have been doing the operations. And really, that is what does bring us to the other topics. But now, to summarize the discussion, as always, with what is happening in the world of sports, really, we did see games right yesterday, starting right locally and internationally. And I must say, there was a shocker in the Champions League where so many people got shocked, and I will be able to also really give you that result later on. But let's now start with what happened in the Sometimes Uganda Premier League yesterday, where we did have also several games on card, where we did see Vipers Sports Club beating Express Football Club by a goal to nil. We did see also Bright Stars also really drawing, that's with Neck Football Club 1-1 in there, and as Sports Club Villa was also really able to beat Wakish Giants by 3-2, as UPDF also lost, that is to Kampala City Football Club by a goal to nil. That was a day before yesterday, and that also really makes the table standings change, and this is where we are seeing Viper Sports Club moving on top of the log now, also really ahead of Bulls Football Club, as Airtel Chitara Football Club comes in the third place, as also Sports Club Villa comes in the fourth place, and in the fifth place is Kampala City Football Club Authority, that is KCCA in there. And now to look at the teams that are at the bottom, because we do have also really bottom teams at the top 5. Looking at the top 5 in the down lane, we have Arua Hill Football Club that was also demoted, which also really continues to sit behind in there, as UPDF is just on top of Royal Football Club in there, as Gaddafi Football Club comes, that is immediately after UPDF, as Busoga United continues to move in there. Wakish Giants is the team that is next, and really that is also where we are seeing Mbarara Football Club also really topping, also really, that is also the list in there, and this is all in arrangements and also in how the games were, and I really feel also the league is actually getting hotter, and I really feel for those who love sports, definitely that is also really where you must also really be following up on, and these are things also really we are following up on. And also really tomorrow we shall be having games that is also really between also URA Sports Club, who will be taking, that is also KCCA, and we shall be having Airtel Kitara also already on the level taking, that is on Busoga United, as Bull Football Club will be taking on Gaddafi Football Club, and Maroons will be also playing, that is also already Bright Stars, as UPDF also will be playing, that's the Sports Club Villa. Wakish Giants will be also coming back in action on 11th of also May, as they will be taking Barra City Football Club, as NEC also really will be playing that day against Sports Club Vipers in there. And these are some of the games that are in Uganda Premier League. And looking at the biggest game that yesterday, that was in Champions League, and really this is where so many people got shocked, and this is also really where it is said experience matters, as Real Madrid was able to beat, that is Bayern Munich, by 2-1 after Bayern Munich leading the game up to the 8th minute. And really this is also really where Madrid got its the first goal, and in the 92nd minute, and this is also really where they got the winning goal, and that makes also really Real Madrid move on and advance to the next stages of the game. That is also really on aggregate by beating Bayern Munich by 4-3 in there. And this is something I must say also really where so many people got also shocked, because they thought it was done, and this was a done deal. They thought really by leading up that minute they would also really summarize that game in there. And really I must say it wasn't also really what so many people expected for the German side, but we did see the Spanish side taking the rights of the game by advancing to the next levels, and that makes them actually heading for finals for the 18th time in the history of the club. Are we going to be seeing them winning it again? Definitely I do not know, but I will be able to keep you informed of maybe that teams that will also really be able to also really want to see that they win. And remember, that will also really be coming through later on, as Owen Ezaga, Linda Susie will be here to give you more details that is on in the world of sports, and that is through the Wisher Time that will be starting, that is right from hour of 2 to 3 p.m. And remember to be part of that show where you will be getting the comprehensive analysis and details of the different leagues starting, that's right from the regional league, the national league and the international leagues, and this is where the team will also be giving you that. And remember at 7 p.m. that is also Raku Benson Pastore will be still giving you, that is also the sports updates of what could have happened, maybe where we left out, and that's also through the Nileka Sports Updates. And these are things that really I want to remind you who is the viewer and who is a lover of sports must also really be part of. And really that does bring us to the end of the discussions, as we now want to pave way for the AOL News team that's led by Mukulia Lawrence, who are already here also to let you know of exactly what is happening in the world of news. For now, I step up and I will be bouncing back tomorrow for the final edition of the week. My name is FARISH Majid. Stay tuned for the rest of the programs that may follow in the due course of the day. I'm out.